Hi there, welcome to this course on kinetic typography and text animation with After Effects. My name is Harshit. I'm a course instructor. In this tutorial, you will learning various animation techniques such as trim path, simple transformation like this where you can move text in the way you want with opacity, position, rotation and much more. You will also learn 3D isometric text animation. You can change your text with the dimensions and rotating color hue. You will also learn block text animation where you can create text based on your weightage. You will also learn track mattes, null objects, built-in presets and various effects. Using the skills acquired in this course, you could present your idea in a better way. So don't wait, start learning right now. See you in the class. Hi friend, welcome to this lesson. Here you will be learning about trim path text animation in After Effects. So what is trim path? Trim path is a simple text animation where your outline of the text or the stroke is animated for opening a presentation. It is used widely along with its blocks and other animation storyboardings. So let's do it. So here, let us first create a background solid. So right click, create a new solid. Here I've chosen a dark brown color and I want to add some texture to this background. So here I have a paper folded effect and we'll just embed it. So here I've imported the vectors that will be required in the project. In the following lessons, we'll be using some of those vectors. We'll just drop the paper texture right above the solid, or you can add it below. So here, just readjust it, and here just we need to right click this paper layer or the background layer and go to blending option and choose multiply. You got a lot of blending options. Here we're using the multiply option to get an effect of the paper as well as the color. There are a wide range of effects here. You can choose any of the option. So just drop a text here. Just write anything. Here I will be creating an animation presentation about history of money. That will be learning this course. So here just do it. Just type a text or string you want to provide. Use the selection tool to reposition your text anywhere you want. Just do central align, and here the spacing is not accurate. We want some more spacing in terms of central spacing or in a proper formatting. You can go to the text details and here you got a lot of options. Here you can adjust space, color. You can change the size of your text. You can rearrange the vertical spacing, horizontal spacing, a text font, text width, a lot of things you can do here. Then when you are done with the settings, let's do some more vertical spacing between the sentences and then readjust it and set change the color. So here I don't want any fill color. You can choose any of the color. I will be putting a golden stroke for this text layer and select the fill to null. We don't want any fill. We want just a transparent fill with a golden stroke. So when you are done with this, just go to the selection tool after that and you can readjust it. We need to convert this text layer into shape because when we want to animate the path, so path is always animated about a shape and text is not a shape. Text is a different format. So we just need to convert it to text. So here is our text. Its stroke is this. You can take any particular color, and here the error is this thing may occur to you because we have applied blending to the solid. and when you put anything below the solid layer, it will be lost or hidden. So just put your text layer on top of everything, and here is our text layer. So just do this thing. We can readjust the width of our text, the sentence width. We can expand our text along the horizontal as well as vertical axis. So you got a lot of options with text. Just try to learn each one of them. And the best thing best way to learn is to just apply and try everything. So when you are satisfied with your animation here, then go to layer from the top options and just select create create shape from text. So here we have created a shape layer. You can hide the text layer, it is automatically hidden, and then go to add and add trim path, and we want to animate this trim path effect. Just expand this trim path option and go to particular time where you want to start your animation and just expand it. Go to the end option and set a keyframe and make it initially 0. It will start from the 0 and say wait for half a second or 1 second and make it 100%. Set another keyframe. So here it will appear like this. So this is a trim path animation for your stroke of the text. We have created a title. This way you can create title text animations in After Effects. Hi, welcome back friend. In the previous exercise you have learned about trim path title animation in After Effects, and here in this practical exercise you will be learning more about animating and pre-composing. So let's do it. So after we have added the history of money, this trim path animation, we want to add a few vectors or images to our composition. So here are 5 properties, and we want to animate these properties. So sir, first turn the opacity to 0 of this title animation, and we want our text to disappear on the screen. In the similar way, we will add different vectors and make them appear from nowhere. So we'll be keyframing the opacity of those vectors as well and turn them from 0 to 100%. Here we'll be conveying the story of money. So we will be adding coins and note. So here just drop the vector. Sometimes vector may be little big in size compared to your background. So you can readjust the size. Go to the option for reducing the size, and here you can drop more such vectors. You can reduce zoom in or zoom out the monitor control monitor. Here I have reduced the size to 6.25%. You can make it 50% depending on the size of the screen you are working with. If you're working with a desktop with a big screen, you can do with any size because you have a clear vision of everything. If you are using a laptop or a personal computer that has a small screen, you could readjust the size depending on your requirement. Here let me drop a few things: paper, plastic money and everything. When I will zoom in, you will have a better view. So let's rechange the size to 33% say, and readjust everything on the screen exactly where we want them to appear. You can animate the position, rotation, anything of the properties, or you can add a lot of things, but here let's do this with the opacity. Later on you will be learning various animations, complex animation techniques from isometric to block text animations, and you will combine everything to build a complete project. Storytelling is an important thing here, and storytelling requires you to link the frames of your presentation with each other. So you have to plan everything in a way that when they are combined together, they would convey a better story. They must be in sync with each other. So here, for example, I've written the text story of money, and I've added these money symbols: the plastic money, paper money, coin, and the blockchain, Bitcoin vector. So this will represent, add more to the meaning of your text, because sometimes a text, an image can speak 1,000 words. So using the help of images or vectors will add more meaning to your data. You can also duplicate any vector, just copy and paste, and you can have multiple layers and reposition them accordingly. So we'll be setting all the image layers starting at some 4 seconds. So just select all the layers, or you can select the first and the last layer by shift key and hold square braces or open bracket to start these layers at that point. So we'll be animating, setting keyframe for opacity. So just press O to have the opacity. You can go to transformation or anything like that. So set the opacity to 0 initially, and say after half a second later set the opacity to 100%. So this way you got an opacity of 100%. So even wait for some more seconds, keep it there for 1 second on the screen, and again after that set one more keyframe for 0%. So we need a combination of 4 keyframes. So first it will disappear and wait for a moment and again disappear. We have to reverse the order. The first keyframe is 0, second is 100%, third is 100%, fourth is 0%. Just copy the same keyframe and paste it on other image layers. So every layer will follow this thing. So here we have animated these images. So we need to add fading effect to our trim part title animation, and you can turn the opacity for your title text from 0 to 100% right before your animation will appear. You can also readjust these layers, and the best way to is keep the layers on the top that is appearing. When you got a lot of vectors or a lot of layers, it will be difficult to manage. You need to recompose them together. So just select all the layers, right click and pre-compose. So when you go to a composition, you got everything in the same way it was. You're learning more in the coming exercises. Till then, keep practicing and keep learning. Hi, welcome back, friend. You are learning kinetic typography and text animations in After Effects. So here in this practical exercise, I'll be creating some more text animations with After Effects. Previously, we have created a pre-compositions or pre-comp from various layers that we have created in the first exercise. And now we'll be adding some more text layers to this effect. So we have created a new solid here with the light blue background color, and we want to set an opener for this background. So we want to have a drop-in effect. So we want to drop this background from top to the center. So just use the position, set a keyframe. Initially it must be outside the screen, preferably on the top of the screen, and say after half a second later set another keyframe and drop it on the screen covering entire screen. So here this is a simple animation. You can apply easing to have any smooth animation like this. So here after you have done this, you can animate various other transformation properties, or you can just create a new text here. I'm creating a new text here, writing some more text message. Initially it was set to the previous format that was there. I want to have a fill this time with some blue color background, and I don't want a stroke to be there. So let's turn stroke to transparent, and here just readjust your text. So I'm writing long time ago. So let's have this in typographic effect. So I want this keyboard, this word to appear as it is being written using typewriter or a keyboard. So this thing can't be achieved by setting simple position, opacity, and rotation keyframes. We want to animate each and every individual character in this string. So how we can do this? There are various presets that are built in and they are packaged with your After Effects software. You don't need to download any preset or any external plugin for achieving this kind of animation. You can go to the preset option here and here just write typewriter, or you can go to navigate to text and fade in on the animation here, and here when you drop it to the text layer it will appear like it is being typewritten. So it will be typewritten on the top of this layer. So it is taking a time, so it will start exactly at that point where you have placed your timer. So here just drop it and again set it initially at this point of time where you want it to appear. Use the combination of brackets and here I want this text to appear. So it looks like it is being typewritten. Sometimes you want to create text animations, you can use a combination of properties, the transformation tools that you get, but don't forget to leverage and take advantage of various built-in presets, because even in blockbuster movies they also do this thing. So it is better to grab an attention for your audience, deliver your message that you want to deliver, rather than trying to animate each and everything here. So we have animated this thing and you can play it over and again. Next thing, I want this text to disappear with the rotation, and you can also animate with the opacity the way we have done in the previous text animations, but rather just make it a little bit different. I want to turn or flip this text around the screen in 3 dimension. So how you can do this? You have got a small cube option under here and make it 3D. So here when you click it and make it 3 dimensional, you got 3 rotation options X, Y, and Z. So you can animate it. Use the pan behind tool to put the anchor point in the left option. So we want to it to animate along the left anchor point. Set the keyframe for the Y rotation. Initially keep it default value 0 degree. After say half a second later, provide any value. Positive 90 degree will put it in front of the screen. I want it to go behind the screen. So rather just provide negative 90 degree and here it works. So we have animated this text added with the properties and preset. Hi, welcome back friend. Here in this practical exercise you will learning how to create an isometric 3D text in After Effects. So let's start. Here we just need to add some solid or a background if you want. I'm having a black background so it will be fine. So just create some text. 3D isometric is a 3D object. It looks like a cube or a 3D square, and you can move around in different dimensions in the X, Y, and Z dimension. So here we have created a text for the top layer, top face of a cube. So just create then someone. This is a story of money. So here we will be creating the story line. Then someone invented coins. So then someone, this string will be on top side of the cube. Invented would be on the side face and coins would be in the last face. So just type the message you want to print, change the color to your choice. Here we're using simple white text color in capital case, and after you are done, just create a new text layer. Don't forget to create a new. Don't continue with the previous because we want to rotate it in different dimension than someone invented. Now let's reposition it and change the color. So here we take a lighter shade of green. It will be vibrant. Go to selection tool or to reposition your text around, or you can also type in the third text, keep it a different layer. uh, this will contain a coin, so let's make it a golden color, a vibrant golden color, and reposition your text accordingly. Try to put everything in the center, so when you are rotating your text will be moving in and out of the screen. So it is better to position them in the center with a proper size. Don't zoom in a lot, don't make them big enough so it won't be readable, or don't make it a small. A balance of size should be there. So you can get a lot of options here. Just make this layer 3D by popping to the cube icon. Make sure I've turned every layer into 3D, so you can rotate it around the z axis or z axis. So similarly, just reposition every text. We have rotated the coin in different dimension, and here just put the invented right below the first string. The second string is invented, and we'll be moving everything around. Place the coin on the rightward side. So we'll be first moving from top to bottom, then to the right side. So here, just get the second layer, and you can readjust around the x-axis. Just provide the value of -90 degree, so it will move in the background. You can also type in the value, or you can scroll with your left mouse click in the left and rightward direction to change the value of any property, be it rotation, position, or anything else. Just go to transform tools and turn the opacity of the first layer off by default. Before starting the motion, we want every layer to be turned off or opaque. So starting with the first text, it will gradually have the opacity. Set the keyframe. The first keyframe must be having 0 opacity, and the second frame may have 100%, or in case you are using some transparent background, you can have 50% or 75% ideally. So now it's time to rotate everything. We will be keeping all the text linked to a null layer. You can rearrange your position and just create a right click new null object. So just make it 3D as well, because all layers are in 3D. Just hold the shift and control key and pick whip all the layers, all 3 text layers to the null layer. So in that case, any transformation, rotation, position, anything applied to this null layer would be reflected back in all 3 layers. So we don't need to one by one sync everything. It will be automatically synchronized because they are referencing this layer. So just for example, we rotate the y-axis on the null layer, or you can also rotate x-axis or z-axis, all the axes you want. So by default, put the first string on the top and set the keyframe and try to rotate to the second string. Provide the 90-degree angle. Hi, in the previous exercise, we have created 3D isometric text, and here in this practical exercise, we will be moving forward with adding some rotation and more effect to this text. So let's do it. Just reposition your text here and set the keyframes accordingly. Make sure your text is located in the center of the screen. and here just smoothly rotate this thing. It must be synced with the opacity position, and it is optional. You can add scalability when it is turning. When this text get emphasized, it could bounce to scale up. So you can add this keyframe. The combination of all these default transformations, when applied perfectly in sync, will make the very beautiful animation. So here, this is our second string, the invented, and just turn the opacity off of the first string when the second string appears on the screen. So you can set the keyframe, and so here it is 100% opaque, and after this time we want this text to get 0% opaque, disappear, and here just add a combination of two keyframes very close. So here it disappears. You need to set a keyframe to the 100% value, and after 1 second you can add 0%. So you can apply easing by selecting all the keyframes, right click, easy ease. So it will smooth your animation. So this is null layer. Try applying everything in the null layer, and now let's rotate it in the Z axis. As the Y axis won't be of any use here, we can rotate it in the Z axis. Try rotating in the combination. The third text, the coin text, we want it to appear. So by default, it must be set the first keyframe by the default value, and after some time, set another keyframe, rotate it in the rightward direction, positive 90 degree, and here is our coin layer. So when it is rotated, after that, you just need to rotate the coin layer. Now go to the coin layer and try to rotate it to the side of this camera or where our audience is viewing. You can rotate X, Y or Z axis. So here we need Y rotation. Minus 90 would be perfect. Just place it in the center. Make sure it is in center orientation. After invented, the second text disappears. You need to position your third text. So just go to the second layer and make it disappear. Turn the opacity to 0% just before your coin text appears on the screen, and reposition your coin text in the center. So here it is in center. You can replay your animation over a few times to make sure everything is in the precise position, the precise timing. So here this is animation, and we want our third text, the coin text, to be opaque or to disappear before it has to appear. We want only one text on the screen to get full attention of the audience on the message that we want to convey, because in 3D isometric we are moving every text in different dimensions very quickly and swiftly. So the background must be very clear. It should not distract our audience. Just make use of opacity and everything. So here just go to the coin layer. Sometimes you may forget a few things, the transformation things. It is not a problem. You just need to replay your animation right from the beginning and cross check everything. So here we have added a range selector for hue color, and the color of the third text, the coins, will change over time. So when you keyframe it based on the degree or of rotation, it will change color slightly. So, or you can provide 100% or one complete revolution to make it in the same color from yellow to green to blue to red and again back to yellow. The same way you can set the keyframes here. Hi friend, welcome back. In the previous exercise we have created 3D isometric text, and in our last text we need to add some more object to add some emphasis. So here we need to add some coin vectors. I've created a coin vector and I will be dropping this coin from top side of the screen to the bottom of the screen. So just readjust this coin object. This is a PNG. You can also take any vector file of Adobe Illustrator would work here. So just reposition it. So here I want to position it on the top and duplicate this coin. Here we want 3 coins. You could have a series of coins. You can drop in sequence or anything like that. Just learn how to do this. So here we would be adding the position transformation only. It will be more than sufficient. So when you are done, just hold any layer and press the P to keyframe the position. P is the shortcut or the hotkey for adding the going the position property. Try to learn various shortcut keys to speed up your project, because timing is everything with After Effects. So here just set the keyframe. Initial keyframe must be outside of the screen, and the final keyframe just wait for roughly half a second, or depending on your application just reposition it at the place you want. So here this first coin has dropped from top of the screen to bottom the similar way. You can copy the position property, but it will copy both the x and y axis. We just want to reposition the copy the y axis. So we just need to recreate everything because they have different values of x. Alternatively, you can use the expressions, but using keyframe would be very easy in this case. So here we drop the coin. So the same thing you observed, because the third coin has been copied the same property, it won't work. So you just need to reposition it accordingly. Just set the keyframe initially the top side of the screen. Outside it won't be visible. It looks like the coin is dropping somewhere from the sky to the ground. So here just readjust and replay everything. So just preview animation, just press the play and the stop key. You can select playing right from the beginning or from the work area depending on your choice. You can start and play it again. So then someone invented coins. It looks a cool 3D isometric animation, and finally we got the coins added on the effect. Keep learning, keep moving ahead. Hi, welcome back friend. Here in this practical exercise, you're learning how to create block text animation in After Effects. Earlier, you have learned a lot of things from 3D isometric to simple transformations and trim path and much more. So here I will be learning an advanced topic, block text animation. It will add a lot of attention and effects to your animation. It will be vibrant. So just take a vibrant background color. Here I've taken a lighter tone of red and pink color, and just now we need to add some text. This is a typography project, so here we just choose a text. So you can rescale it. The thing here is we with block text we have multiple layers of text, and each are animated in differently. They have different kinds of transformation and effect. Together when they get in sync, they leave a cool impact on viewers' mind. So here just take the same color tone with a dark shade. We are using the same color as the background. Here you can rescale the size of your screen display monitor here if it is small, and just write the text, different text one by one. You can copy the same text layer and rename the text later on, or just use the text tool, type tool. Here with the block text you can convey a lot of messages on the same screen. It is very different when you compare to isometric text, because in isometric at a time one or two messages or strings appear on the screen, but with the block text multiple text appear one by one on the screen and they move like a song. So any presentation or anything where you're using songs, a lot of song directors also use this block text effect to convey the lyrics or any message on the screen. So when you're building any presentation or kinetic typography project, the block text would be very useful. So here we have created multiple layers of this block text, this text layers, and now we just need to reposition them accordingly. So select all these layers and go to the frame or the time where you want. Here I go to almost 3 seconds, and just you can hold the open bracket option or square bracket on the keyboard to start the timer of those layers at that point. Alternatively, you can also hold your left key and drag on the screen in the position where you want. So here I will be creating a mask. So just draw a square here on the screen and readjust it on the size width. Here we want our background to appear from the top right corner. So we'll be creating a matte, an alpha matte of the background layer. So just draw this mask or shape layer on the top of the screen or just above the background layer. Just hold it with the left click and drag it down, and right click this background, medium background solid color, and go to alpha. Alternatively, there are luma mats and other mats, but here we will be using alpha mat. So this shape layer is transparent and alpha mat. So what happens here is when you move this alpha layer, your background layer, the solid, will appear like it is appearing from the top corner. So just reposition it on side, because simply the solid doesn't have any boundary, so it is omnipresence everywhere. So when you want to animate it, you can use any extra shape layer or use with masking with alpha matte. So you can apply easing to the keyframes you just created with the shape layer, and here it appears like your background is coming from the top right corner. So whatever layer would be in behind, it will disappear. The black layer would be replaced by any previous layer. So don't worry here. So just reselect the text and place it over the time where you want. 3 seconds could be a more delayed. And now start animating the text one by one. So here we have a lot of text. So first thing is to rotate them accordingly. So here we want paper notes to be vertically oriented, not horizontally. So just make it 3D so that we can play with all the three coordinates. Most importantly, Z coordinate. So here we just want to rotate it in the Z axis. XY axis won't work because we want to create a vertical text here. So just rotate it 90 degree in the Z axis. Similarly, the same thing you need to apply with the nodes. So here we have two text in the vertical orientation and four text layers in the horizontal axis. You just need to rearrange the size of each text. So here we make some text layer appear bigger. So centuries layer uh, is enlarged to get an emphasis over this word. And after some centuries, people began using paper notes. So after this animation stops, you can read it very perfectly. It is very friendly to your eyes. It is very convenient to convey the message, and we would be animating it in the coming exercise. So here you just rearrange a few text a little bit. No need to enlarge it compared to the centuries or anything like that. When you're done with this, you can change the colors and more things. Hi, welcome back. Now moving forward with our text animation. So just change the color of different text layers. I will be using the monochromatic color scheme, so won't be changing it to different colors such as white. We'll be taking a lighter shade or a darker shade of the same color from the color selection tool. Just select any text layer and make it either dark or light if you want. You can take any color, or you can also animate different preset or hue color option. There are a lot of fill color change animations. We could also use expressions if you want. So just keep it simple and try to simplify your idea and make it into a few words. It will appear. There you can take the option of hue color. Sometimes white color is helpful with a dark background. Here just go to the selection tool uh, when you want to switch over different text, or simply select it by dragging on the layer option. So here just replay this animation again. So here we have not applied any transformation to these text. So just you are done with repositioning and coloring and resizing them. Just not need to keyframe a few things. So just go to something. The first text that has to appear from the block is after some. So here we'll be animating this layer. Just expand it or go to transform, and here go to opacity. So the first time we don't want it to appear as it is. We want it to gradually appear from nowhere almost. So here initially we are turning the opacity to 0%. It will take half a second to gradually appear on the screen with 100% opacity. To the first text we have applied opacity. You can rearrange the layer in the sequence they follow, and just simply select the second layer and use the opening bracket or braces to move the layer in the rightward direction at the time where you want. So the second layer we try to animate the position. Initially drag it out of the screen, set the keyframe, wait for a second or half a second, and then set another keyframe and bring that text at the right position where you want. You can use both the selection tool to move your text around on the screen, or you can use the value provider in the properties of the text layer or any other layer. You can apply easing to smooth down your animation. So here we have applied easing, and now just move to the third text layer and add the rotation. Here we want a third layer to appear from a different angle, and just reposition it and with the open bracket and put the keyframe by hitting the stopwatch. And here we have the first keyframe, and initially I want to rotate it a little bit. You need to set your anchor point accordingly. When your text layer is in 3D, you could also rotate in X, Y, and Z, all three coordinates. Otherwise, you could rotate only in X or Y axis. So here we have changed it around the X axis. So it will appear like a paper or copy a book. It looks like a book opening thing. It will be flat. So apply easing and replay so that it looks cool or whatever, to make sure your animation is doing what you are expecting from it. So okay, it looks cool. So then we need to animate the fourth text after we have animated the three texts initially. One with opacity, one with position, one with rotation, and then go to using and four text, and now animate the scale property. A block text looks cool when you use a combination of different properties or transformations where each text animation is almost unpredictable. People can't predict that next text will be scaling up, down, rotating, bouncing back, anything. You don't know. So that's the way you keep your audience with an element of surprise. So here it is. Similarly, the fourth and the fifth, we can reposition those layers accordingly and change the color. Previously, we have animated various properties to different text layers, and here the final text layer, we want to add some out of the box animation. Basically, we will be using some presets. So make sure the preset option is visible to you. From Windows, select the preset if it is not visible. So then just go to explore a lot of animations, and here we'll be using text animation, the hue and stroke color animation. Go to this category, there are various options. You can choose any color. I'll be using the second one. So just select this option and try to play it. If it looks cool to you, you can continue, or you can Control Z to undo the previous selection or delete the effect and apply a new effect. Here, just play this again. So this plays from the beginning, and you can do this. So here the final animation looks cool. It changed the color. It is very simple. It's not too much complicated, and you don't need to keyframe anything when you are using a built-in preset. So here we just want to add a new null layer. A null layer is simply a different layer, and we have previously worked with this. Just make sure all the layers other than background is in 3D. We just select all the text layers and pick whip it to the null layer. We want to animate or move all the text in sync together, and how we can do so is using null. Otherwise it would take a lot of time to keyframe every single text layer. So here just go to the rotation and position. We'll be rotating it and revolving it around. So just set the keyframe and rotate it a little bit. So initially just set the keyframe to the default value and say wait for half a second and rotate it to say 90 degree. You could reverse it. You can think of this animation. We're rotating this entire block and fire it out of the screen with a sudden speed. You have to position it as well. So here we will not just rotating it, we will be repositioning it. So here just reposition it well on the screen. So here we have this animation, the paper notes. We want this text to be the title of the next screen. So here we want to introduce the paper note, the last text on the screen. So we will be adding some vector for this paper note. You can also scale it up a little bit to add some emphasis of this text or title. So we scale it a little bit, and we need to reposition this block as well because we are increasing the size of entire block, not just this text. So just reposition it to adjust that all other text are out of the screen. So just replay it or block animation. It looks cool and almost unpredictable. Each text animation should be unpredictable in a block text to retain the element of surprise to grab the attention of your audience. You are a storyteller, you are an animator, so you have to do this. Here I've just created a simple vector of paper note. You could use the vector or you can license various vectors online or anywhere you want. You can, yeah, the best thing is to you should create each and every vector used in your animation. Even though you are not a good designer as me, I'm not a designer, but still I try to create a lot of vector myself. So just place your vector and image on the screen the way you want. So here we need to reposition it because I want this thing to appear, the cache to appear from below the screen. It may look like a cache machine giving out the cache or the paper note. Just apply easing when you're done with setting your keyframes. So just replay everything to make sure it is looking the same as you are expecting. So here we are done with this. You can try to create a different type of block animation. Keep learning, keep moving ahead. Hi, welcome back friend. You are learning kinetic typography project, and here in this practical exercise we will be adding some more text animation to your story. Previously you have learned about trim path, block, text animation, 3D isometric, and now here in this exercise you will be adding some transformations to various kinds of text, and we'll be adding some pictures or vectors to convey the story. So just create a new solid, choose your color. I'm not a designer by profession, so forgive me for choosing a different color that's not that much appealing. You can choose your own design choices. If you are a designer, you will definitely create a good animation using a combination of custom colors or different shades. You can also look at various sites like color.adobe.com to find the latest color trends that you can use. Just select a similar color for the text. As per my experience, I thought that monochromatic color scheme works better. So here, you can also zoom in or zoom out the control monitor here, the display screen. You can readjust based on your requirement. So just create some more text layers here. Add the story. We have talked about in the story project where we are talking about a story of money from Stone Age to Bronze Age to Coin Age. Now we have reached the age of plastic money after the paper note. Here we will add a story about just a few decades ago we got the plastic currency. So here after that we will placing the vectors or images for the plastic currencies. Just add the text layers properly on the screen. Position them at the place where you want. Just rescale them accordingly. You need to also, here you will learning about anchor points. The importance of anchor point is huge. So when you try to scale any text layer or any object in After Effects, it will go to, if your anchor point or the pivot is placed right in the centroid of the shape, you would have a unique appearance, regular expressions. But when you reposition your anchor point to the left or right or any different location, it will create a different kind of animation. So here, just go to the selection tool, select any text that you want to animate, or you can just reposition your anchor point using the pan behind tool. So here I will first animating these things, and you will also learn about the alpha matte to track mattes. So just take a shade of similar color. You can always change your colors or size of font or anything until you are satisfied. I take a same font for the entire project. It is better to take one single font type for your entire story rather than picking different fonts. So here just go to the selection tool, select any text and go to the desired time, or you can zoom in the timeline a bit to get a better overview. So zoom in the timeline. I prefer 1 second gap. Uh, some people use the frame gaps. Just go to the desired location, select the text layers, all text layers, and hit the open square brackets to start those animations at that point. Now just insert a new null object or just create a new shape. For that you need to zoom out the screen a little bit because we want to cover the entire solid or entire screen here, and just rotate it slightly or 45 degree to be exact. This is square because we want this effect like shutter effect, the camera shutter effect, that the screen will pop up from the center to the outward direction in the corners in the top, right, left, and the bottom sides. So here just add this thing, add the shape layer right above the solid, the background solid, and choose the alpha for the solid. You can apply scaling and set the keyframes accordingly. Just set the initial keyframe to 0 and the final keyframes to 100, so it will scale up right from the center to the outer directions, and you need to define your 100% to be outside the screen. So just zoom out the monitor a little bit to create the shape as covering entire solid. So once you are done with this, just play the animation. So here it is. We want this fade in effect, this transition to cover our animation, and after this entry has been done, we need to readjust the text layers individually, and we want our text to appear just after this alphabet entry of the background has been done. Now just go to the pan behind tool and put the anchor point towards the left bottom corner of the text layer. So this way your text will look like it is pinned to this corner, and set the keyframe for rotation. We'll have a 90-degree rotation to the right angle. Set your initial keyframe at the desired location, and after say half a second later set another keyframe with a 90-degree change. You can apply easing to smooth down your animation, and here it is. So we can use the anchor point using the pan behind tool and set your anchor point to different corners of the screen, not just the boundary of your text layer. You can also put it somewhere outside the text layer, to the center of the screen, outside the screen, anywhere you want. So this way you, with the same values of the keyframes, you can apply different kinds of animations. Anchor point is cool thing. So here the second text layer, where we have placed our anchor point right in the center bottom, text is rotating just in the center like a twist. So here it is, and similarly you can animate other layers. You can also apply the effects and presets that are available by default in the After Effects. You can choose a combination of various effects or transformations and anything more you want to do. Hi, welcome back friend. Now moving forward with our previous text animation, we have created multiple text layers. We have added a fade in effect using alpha matte, and now just go to the third text. We have learned using anchor points with the pan behind tool, we can just change the normal transformations to a different one. You can use a combination of presets that are always in there in After Effects, or you can add various plugins. You can try these presets, and if it doesn't work, you can delete any effect that you apply, or just press the Ctrl plus Z to remove the previous effect. You can always add the transformations, the 5 transformations: opacity, position, scale, and rotation in 3 dimensions. Set the keyframe here with the third text. I will be setting opacity, so I want it to appear from nowhere. So initially set the opacity to 0, and after say half a second later just set it to 100%. You can apply easing to have a smooth effect. So just we have 3 text animation. These pop up differently. First two are rotations, but with a different anchor points, one with the side corner and one with the center, and third has the opacity blur. And the fourth text, you can set the position. Just go to the text layer, press the open bracket to start your text layer right from the place where you want. You can always add more combination of keyframes, but sequencing the text layers or any shape layer is a better option, is the best practice. So you can easily refer it back to the compositions whenever you want to do edits or in the post-production environment. So just apply easing to all the text layers, simple transformations. Here it is. So it doesn't look appealing with the designing perspective, but it has a clear animation. As an animator, a motion graphics artist, your point is to do the job smoothly, the transitions and everything. Possibly you will working with a team, so a designer will assist you in designing points things. So add a new null object, because after these texts has been done, I want to rocket file these texts out of the screen. So just pick whip them together to this null point and set all these layers including null to the 3 dimension, so that I can apply the rotation in z coordinate or z axis. So here go to the desired time where you want to apply the transition of fading out of the screen. So here just set to the Z rotation, set a keyframe initially to the default, and after say half a second later just twist it a little bit. So I want to fire it to the right, top right corner of the screen, so rotating it accordingly. You could also provide the values manually by typing, or you can just scroll with your left mouse. You can reposition your text, so in that case it would appear to you, or after say half a second later we want our text to go out of the screen. Don't forget to apply easing, because it will smooth down everything. So here it is. So our text appears one by one, and after it has conveyed the message it fires out of the screen. So after you are done with this, you are satisfied, you can add simple vectors. We are creating various vectors for the plastic money, and we'll include it in the project. So just rescale your control screen monitor and make a smaller version of it to readjust the size of your vectors. Sometimes vectors are large enough, so you need to scale them down accordingly. It is better to use the vector formats such as Illustrator instead of raster files such as PNG, because PNGs lost the quality of the image after you multiple times scale up or down, but vector files retain their originality and the quality. So here these are the 4 cards that I won't be using. These are the dummy cards. They doesn't apply in a real thing. You can create your own vectors, or you can search it on various websites. So here just we'll be adding a few vectors. Some people tend to use only the text animation in kinetic typography, but I prefer to add a combination of images because an image can speak 1,000 words. So sometimes your image could add some more meaning to your data or information. So when you animate any text, it is also an image because it has been animated. It is not stationary text. So here it is. We have repositioned our vectors or images, and after we are done with, just set keyframes for each vectors. Just rearrange them in the order you want to appear. Set the position keyframe for the one thing. Here I want our cars to appear from top side of the screen, outside of the screen, to the center or the positions. They will be falling with different speeds and different times. So set the keyframes accordingly. You can also apply a combination of position plus opacity, position plus rotation, or multiple transformations simultaneously to add some more meaning to your information. Otherwise, just choose a combination. Don't align them in the sequence, keep them random at a random locations on the screen, so it will add some more meaning. It may look like when you are throwing a card on the ground. Everyone won't fall in a line or a pattern, they will have some randomness. So try to mimic the nature. So here just replay this animation again to recheck you have done what you are actually planning to do. So here we are done with this animation. You're learning more in the coming exercises. Keep learning and keep moving ahead. Hi, welcome back friend. Here in this practical exercise, you're learning some cool animation techniques where we would be using some built-in presets to create an awesome storytelling animation. So here just take a background. Here we will be requiring a green colored background, so take any shade of green. This will be the last part of the presentation. So here it will be conveying the message of the cryptocurrency. So in order to represent cryptocurrency, we need some options. So here just go to effects and preset and select the circuit background and drop it down on the background page. So here this animation pops up. So here you don't need to create anything, or you can just copy it on the layer. Just drag and drop. This animation uh, is functioning properly, and you got a lot of control options here. You got an option to control the speed, control the duration, the colors. These are the two default keyframes. You can readjust them by shifting to either left or right side. You can go to each properties like tritones. Here you got three colors. Say you can choose a warmer shade of a color. You can take any other color. So here I will be using the green color. It looks like a Matrix movie scene where coding is there in the background. It is simple. It was a slideshow actually used in the Windows a long time ago. If you're a 90s or millennium user, you would be aware of this. So this background looks good. Here you got a lot of properties. Similarly, if you take any background effect, it will have a lot of control options. So here just adding a few text here. So in 2009, Bitcoin, the world got cryptocurrencies. So in 2009, so just take the color. So I think white or a green color would suit in this case. So just take any shade of green, lighter or darker shade, depending on your choice of color. Later on, we can apply some animation using the presets for the text layer as well. So you just readjust your text size, or you can also choose the all capital or the camel case or any case you want. Here, just copy this text layer, or you can use the selection tool and create a new text layer here. So in 2009, we got our first cryptocurrency. So just reposition the text properly on the screen at the desired locations where you want them to appear. You can change the color of your text anytime you want. Just readjust its location. Now just create a third text layer. So just write in capital case the cryptocurrencies. So cryptocurrency is a long word and it is a computer programming. So we are conveying the story of money, and we have reached the point of cryptocurrency, blockchains, Bitcoin, Ethereum. So it must be denoted using some cool technical or coding like animation. So just convert it to the white color in the dark background, and you can apply the mechanical effect for algorithm. It will look like a cipher text or a decoding of the text. So here you can readjust the text layers and just select the text layer where you want to begin at a particular moment of time and hold the open bracket option from the keyboard. It is a shortcut, or you can simply use your left mouse click, hold and drag the desired location. So here just set a keyframes for position. So we want the first text to appear out of the screen. So setting this keyframe for the first text layer in 2009, and after it has appeared on the screen, you can just select the other layer. After that, you can apply easing, right click, easy ease. Easing adds more versatility to your code. So here just go to next text layer and set the keyframe. Here we want this text to appear from a different direction. You can also keyframe opacity, rotation, or anything else. So just select the group of keyframes. We are positioning it in the center, and after the second text has entered the screen, we want to animate the third and the last text here. So this is smooth. You can play over and over again to be assured that your animation looks exactly what you wanted. So just go to effects and preset option, and you can either search or you can go to the option where you want. So go to text layer, mechanical, and algorithm. The algorithm effect adds this deciphering animation to your text layer. There are various other options, say algorithm loop or algorithm. So I take the first option to work well. You can also drop any effect on the layer panel, or you can drop on the text in the control screen. Hi, welcome back friend. In the previous exercise, we have created the cryptocurrency animation for our presentation, and here now adding some more effects to this text. So here just set an opacity keyframe. It will be fade out effect for our text. So just hit the stopwatch to set a keyframe. Initially it must be 100%, and after say half a second, 1 second later set another keyframe and make it 0. So it will fade out smoothly. You can also apply easing by selecting the keyframes or let it be. Opacity does not require easing, it looks almost same. So here just readjust the keyframes and then replay the effect again, so it looks cool. So later we can set some keyframes for other properties, transformation properties to other text. We will add some vector images that I have created. that will denote a few cryptocurrencies. Just go to the resources and drop a symbol. These are not the real cryptocurrencies, just a notation for Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ripple, and various cryptocurrencies you can use. So again, it will drop out. It will have a dropout effect, dropping from top side of the screen to the bottom. So this way, just readjust your coins where you want. So I want the text to get out or disappear from the screen, and after the text has disappeared and the deciphering of the cryptocurrency text layer has been done, you can reposition this last thing. Reset the position, replay it again, and here the cryptocurrency dropped out. So after that, we can either fade out the third text layer to make out some space for other vectors, or either just disappear it. So just go to the properties, transform, and opacity. The shortcut for opacity is T. You can create a keyframe for this opacity and turn it from 100% to 0, so it will smoothly fade out of the screen. So next, just add some more vectors for Ethereum and other Litecoins. Litecoins are different cryptocurrencies other than blockchain, Bitcoin and Ethereum. So just add a few vectors. You can choose any color. So here we are denoting the story of money. So the evolution of the money has been from Stone Age to coins, Iron Age, Metal Age, and from paper notes, checks, debit card, and now it has reached to the cryptocurrencies. Maybe in the future, humanity may discover or invent something new, but till now, this is the final reality. And in the present world, we use all forms of currency that humanity has ever invented. So you can create a good storytelling animation by adding a combination of text animations, kinetic typography, or using some vector or images, or you can also add some video clips to tell a good story. You're always encouraged to have your own idea and try to create your own stuff, your own presentation. When you create your presentations over and over again, the first animation may not look very appealing to you or your audience, but over and over again, when you replay your animations, watch them again, watch them closely, try to refine small components every time, it will refine, readjust, and one day you will have an excellent quality content. Every content creator passes through the time of struggle. So here just create some opacity transformations to the text layers, and later on after we have dropped these coins, we want to make some more space because I will be adding some more text layers after this animation has been done. So just you can also copy the keyframes and just select a pair of keyframes and paste it over other text layers or any image layer, any kind of layer. So it will just simply apply. Opacity is the most common transform keyframes that gets copied in this way. Now just added text layers. Readjust the size of the text layer if it is required. Don't need to have all the text in the same size. There's no hardbound rule for typography or any kind of presentation. You can follow some guidelines, say the color scheme or anything you want. It will eventually come by experience or by your choice. Getting a few designing concept may help you get a good presentation, even if you're not from the design background. Here just added these two text, and now we can add some transformations to these text layers. You can readjust the other layers according to their appearance on the screen. I always put the most recent layer on the top. It is simple to manage. You can drop some effects here. I can drop the evaporate effect in the last text, and it will look like the text is fading out of the screen just as usual. It will add some horror or suspense or thrill, something like that. It will try to create something like that. So these animations using a preset, a combination of presets, you can apply an advanced techniques. Here I've used a combination of position, opacity, and a lot of presets predefined. You can use a combination of them. Try building a role solution, keep learning, and keep moving ahead. Hi, welcome back, friend. After we have created various compositions for our project, now it's time to putting all the compositions together and exporting the final project. So just create a new composition and add all the compositions to the project control manager, and here just drop each composition one by one in the sequence you want to place. So here I've added the first composition. It is the history of money, the trim path animation, and a few other text animations. So after the story has been played for the first composition, go to the point where it has to end and just place another composition right over that. So here it stops roughly at this point between 20 and 24 seconds or 20 seconds. So here just place a second composition and put it right above the first composition in the layer panel. You have to just put the second layer over first. So because in Adobe ecosystems, the top layer gets preference to appear on the screen rather than the bottom layer. So we will be placing the later compositions over the previous layers. So just add a background to this layer. Just create a new solid because in our second composition we didn't have any background. So it takes a transparency background here. Just hold the square bracket, open square braces to start the composition at a given time. So here just readjust the layers based on the time because they must sync with each other. There must not be a visible gap between two compositions. So here it is. We have added these two compositions and now it's time to add the third one. So right here, after the last coin drops to the ground, we need to add our third composition. So just go to the project window and here we got the third composition. Place it over the second composition and just hold the open square bracket to start at a given time. So here it gets very nicely integrated. So here this is our block text animation and we have placed it properly over the screen, and now it's time to just find where it ends. So if you want to get an emphasis over a certain section of your presentation, you can hold the frames for a certain amount of time. Other than just you can also add fade in or fade out with high opacity change, or you can reposition anything. So here we have placed our four text animations, four compositions, one over another, and now it's time for the fourth composition to end. So just play them accordingly where you want. So here are the cards, the plastic money, and it ends here. So just the last last composition, the fifth composition, that is a blockchain or cryptocurrency, and place it over the fourth layer, and you do the same thing, the square bracket to start them at a given time without moving, or you can manually move the layers with your mouse. So here we have adjusted it. You can also zoom in to the timeline if it has some frame values. You want to fine tune your animation based on the frames. So here I want to add some position transformation to the last composition. So here just go to the position, keyframe it, and I want to just drop the last comp in the way the curtain gets there on the screen. So here it adds the drop in transition. So just add in a simple thing. Use can also apply easing, but in certain cases you won't require it. So here we have the last composition, and at the time exactly when this entire presentation ends, just wait for a few seconds, 1 or 2 seconds after that, and just go to the end keyframe, and this timer, this range, it specifies the starting of the animation and the end of the animation. So when you export it, it will only render this particular section. So you can either export using render queue or the media encoder. So render queue allows you to export only in few formats, while media encoder is a dedicated software where you can define your own formats and specify various settings. So S264 would be MP4 of high quality render, and here it is. And just hit the play button once you are ready to export, and it will take a few time. So if you have a good GPU on your system, PC or a workstation, it will render quickly. If a bigger RAM is there, it will also render quickly. So after you are done with rendering, you can play the video again and again to check whether it has rendered properly or not, and you can upload it anywhere. This is the same process. You can repeat it for exporting it to another format such as QuickTime, uh, AVI, or different formats. You can also set the lossless, the frame rate, and anything you want to do. Here it is. The timer is about to end. It will take a short while depending on the composition, and once you have the final video, you can use it anywhere you want. Keep learning, keep moving ahead.